Welcome to episode 1 of my Learning How to Keep a Reef Tank series. I'm going to be beginning on my Coral and K-pop YouTube channel. I have done a few years of research myself, personal experience on what not to do, and how to make your tank thrive, and I wanted to share it with you guys. You may have already researched about dosing your tank with nutrients that have been depleted by animals in the tank or coral, fish. If something's depleted, you need to put it back in. That's through dosing. And if something is too much in your tank, you need to take it out, and a freshwater change will do that. Whatever inhabitants you have in your tank will consume the nutrients that need to be replenished because you're not a big ocean. Maintaining a saltwater aquarium can be a little challenging because the nutrients will fluctuate. You do have to monitor nutrient intake and excess. So if your tank has an excess of nutrients like phosphates, we do not want a lot of phosphates. There's a certain level of these nutrients that you want to maintain, and consistency is more important than chasing a number. I'm sure you might have heard that too. If you're struggling with testing your water samples on your own, the big 3 is nitrates, phosphates, and alkalinity. We'll get into the water testing and the parameters that you'd like to hope to keep and how to maintain that consistency month after month. Let's assume you've researched nothing about how to keep a reef tank and you're starting from scratch and you're wondering, Cassandra, how do I do this? How do I maintain water parameters? I've heard about test kits from my fish store. I want to give you some guidance on this. And there's a lot of great, easy, beginner-friendly techniques that you can adopt when you're beginning your tank journey. And I wanted to start with the most obvious. For me, it's Triton. I wish I had this at the start of my journey of beginning my reef tank. This is called an ICP test. Triton has one. Many other companies have ICP tests as well. But what I like about this specific ICP, an ICP is where you send your water out to be tested for all the nutrients that your tank is missing because the fish and the coral have consumed the nutrients, or what nutrients you have in excess, like copper, things that you wouldn't think are in your water, but you know, from the harsh metals of water and everything that goes into it. You know, we do water changes to get rid of excess nutrients, and we dose with trace elements to feed the tank back with the nutrients that there's a deficiency for. So your ICP test, when you send it to the lab, your water to be tested, they will give you a breakdown of everything your tank has inside of it or what it's lacking. And then what I like about Triton, they will give you a bottle. I have 2 bottles that come every month because my tank is ready for the 2-bottle system. Some elements don't really mix well together, so I dose them at different times a day. So what I like about it is they will send you a bottle, a custom mix for your tank. So what my tank needs will be different than what your tank needs because you have different fish, you have different water that you mix with your salt, you have different coral that's eating and consuming these nutrients and phosphates and nitrates and all the things. So what your tank will need will be different than what my tank needs. And this lab from Triton will give you a custom element mix that you dose. I manually dose. Some people like an automatic doser. We can discuss equipment in another episode. This will be a great asset to you as a beginner or even a veteran reefer because there's nothing I can do at home to replicate this. We usually test the main 3 at home, but there's hundreds of other trace elements that we can't just test at home without this kind of extensive lab. But it will also play a role in the health of your tank. And that's why people say keeping a saltwater aquarium is so hard. So this makes it easy because I don't have to mix my custom solution of trace elements. Triton does that for me. So every day in the morning when I'm feeding my fish, I feed my tank. An account online that I can log into, and they give me a report on my ICP test results so I can see what's happening with my tank. And they also give me suggestions on, hey, let's lower your phosphates this month because that can kill coral and fish, which you obviously want to avoid. But they'll give me, so now I have a 2-bottle notice. They'll give me instructions every month. Month to month may be different, but they are very easy for you to follow. It's just dosing a few milliliters a day in the morning, or just the same time of day that you would take care of your tank each day. If you're gonna keep a reef tank, you need to be testing your water. Whether you test your own nitrates, phosphates, alkalinity, salinity, if you test all of that at home yourself, you're still missing out on all of the trace elements that your tank needs or doesn't need. If you're trying to remove some of that, you need to know. So even if you're not doing a monthly ICP, you should at least do one every quarter. So maybe 4 times a year, if the bare minimum. That way you can adjust your water accordingly. So you have to find the balance, and week after week doing the same routines, you'll get there. But then when you add a new fish, it will modify the balance. When you add new coral, when something dies in the tank like a snail, things will happen in a reef. Things will die, things will thrive, and it's your job to keep it as consistent as possible. So this episode is all about consistency. And my advice would be to get yourself an ICP test regularly. I do the Triton Master Your Trace Element subscription, and that's a game changer for me. If you are serious about reefing, or if you're new to reefing and you just need the help like I did, this would be my suggestion. And if you have any questions about ICP testing, water testing, leave them in the comments below, and I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. And stick around for episode 2. Bye guys.